Welcome everybody to anyone listening. My name's Luke. Nice to see you. Speak to you. Whatever.
This is a podcast.
Listen. I am very tired. My sleeping pattern is pretty rough.
To say the least.
Yeah. You want to introduce yourself then, bud?
Oh, fuck. I just super dazed out there. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Hello. I am the other part of this party. So my name's Ben. And this is a podcast of sorts. We, as yet, have not got a name. As every great podcast starts off without a name.
We haven't really come up with any grand specific ideas on what we want to do with this. It's just kind of a headspace to play in, just sort of get some thoughts and some thoughts on stuff out there into the infinite imagosphere of the collective consciousness of the general public.
Yeah, a good old uneducated nerdy chat about stuff that we know half a thing about.
Hey, Ben, hang on. You just said a whole bunch of cool shit. Do you want to run that by me one more time? That sounds like a tagline for this podcast.
Oh my god, what did I say?
A whole bunch of nerdy...
A whole bunch of uneducated, nerdy stuff that we know half a thing or two about.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. There it is, everyone. There's your tagline.
That's the tagline.
That's the tagline.
Da-da-da-da.
We did it. You gain 12 experience points.
You gain one tagline.
Take one asset. So I've been listening to a lot of the Adventure Zone. There's a lot of stuff about assets towards the back half of it, and it's very cool. Okay, so when we had our trial run, we sort of started just we just started at random. Let's have a bit more structure to this, yeah? That's what I'm thinking. What do you think?
Okay, thank God.
Okay.
Although it's going to have to be all you, because I've not prepared anything for this, mate.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. So
I mean, I could probably find and grab the notepad that I had last time, but that's going to be all outdated stuff.
No, we'll leave that. So I'm thinking, so here's what I've got. In my actual notes, say these words, and these are exactly how they're written down. Pop culture, current events, video games, Dungeons and Dragons, ?
I think definitely
? Yeah. So, alright, let's start there. Let's open up with a strong
topic.
Strong topic. So, Dungeons and Dragons. You know it, you love it. Everyone, I think
everyone definitely should know about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been going since 1987. You'd think that by now, everyone
has an idea of its existence.
So, okay, here's my thing about D&D, right? I once heard on a podcast, not this one, D&D described as the last bastion of nerddom. And the context for that is even if you are the most entry level nerd, there is always D&D to fall back on as to the nerdiest thing you could possibly do, right?
Yeah. It's up there along the lines with actual role playing, going out
LARPing.
doing LARP, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I'd love to do LARPing. I've done a
LARP.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I did a live action roleplay when I was down in university. There was a gaming bar called 8-Bits, which was absolutely great. And I used to work there as part-time barman. And it was great. It was a video game themed bar that we did video game themed cocktails and stuff. And the owner was into LARP as well. And him and a bunch of customers, we decided to do this live action roleplay within the venue, because we had the venue so we could use it, and we made this cyberpunk LARP.
That's incredible. I honestly can't think of anything cooler.
We had different classes of people. There were rats, there were moles and cats, and there was a few other things, and everyone had their different special ability.
Dude.
Yeah, they had their own place in this cool world that was built. The rats were the couriers for high-end executives, transporting questionable intel between one another, company versus company kind of things. cats were like kind of these super high, cool assassins who gave no fucks about anyone else. Like they were super badasses. And then moles were like super techie, like augmented up the wazoo kind of people who were more robot than human. And the cosplay and like the characters that were brought to it were really, really fucking cool.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've been following a lot of the careers of professional cosplayers recently, and pretty much every like nerdy fandom will have like their sort of like triple S tier levels of cosplay for their characters. Like some of the League of Legends cosplays are just unbelievably accurate and just unbelievably good. And like on Instagram I follow a lot of like cosplay accounts just because I'm like, oh my god, I wish I could get into this, and then everyone is like getting into cosplay. It's like, by the way, it's hella expensive, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm poor, dang it.
Well, it depends how high level you want to go, because
I mean, I could do like really
the basis of everything is pretty much foam.
Yeah, that's true, but like, yeah, so something I had a conversation with one of our good friends, Katie, and she was like, because I'm growing my hair out, right?
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, did you not? Okay, well, I'm growing my hair out. It's quite long now, and she was like, if you let your hair go any longer, you just have to like strap on a belt, get you a pretty big sword, and you'll be a pretty good cosplay for Aragorn. And I was just like, that's an amazing idea.
Yes.
Wait, hang on, this is an incredible idea. So
that could really work, actually.
Yeah, so because she's like, you've got the sort of gruff, sort of bearded face, like tall human man. All you'd have to do.
I've got a green cloak that I could throw you.
Oh my god! Well. Oh my god! Yes. I've been meaning to ask you this for ages. Do you still have that like ridiculously long, like Link style beanie that your mum knitted you?
Somewhere, yeah, I do.
Because I was thinking like another really cool cosplay to do would be Link, but like Breath of the Wild. But Breath of the Wild Link is blue, so that probably wouldn't work. But I've been playing. Sorry, it's on my mind because I've been playing Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I finished Pokemon Shield the other day, and I've moved on to Breath of the Wild, and oh my god, it's so good. Like I'm so glad that I got a Switch, because like some of the Switch. The
general consensus that Breath of the Wild does take your breath away.
Very good.
Yeah.
Wow. So I just realised we started this entire topic on it. We're talking about D&D, and then just tangented like off to like what is this? A LARPing and then video games. All right, circling all the way back to D&D. We have a D&D session. We play D&D. I DM for our group. And something that I've been running up as like a sort of wall that I can't get my head around at the minute is like balancing sort of encounters with like narrative role play. And so here's where I'm at with that. Like, I'm finding narrative role play a lot more difficult with the audio quality that's coming from like Sam and Carmel. Like, I know they are much more like role play orientated players, and I think you and Alex and Chris, although Chris isn't there very often, are a lot more sort of encounter based role play, like finding like
overcoming
defeating
an enemy,
exactly that. Yeah. And it's finding that balance is like so difficult, dude. Like, it's because I spend maybe 4 or 5 hours a week writing the campaign, right? We only play every other week, so which is it's like 5 hours out of a fortnight is like that's doable. But like I came up with this really cool idea of doing and this isn't spoilers or anything, because this is what we did the other week. I came up with this really cool idea of giving my players magic items by doing like a dungeon run. So you like all have to accomplish a class specific themed dungeon, you defeat that, you collect the orb, you take the orb to the pedestal. Once you get all of them, the pedestal opens up a door, and you all get magic items. Like, that was... And this is a randomly generated dungeon that can reappear later down the line. And...
Yeah, it was very much like the Crystal Maze kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
it was just
for
an
sure.
arena that we can run through again and again if, like, say, certain players aren't there, or if you need a bit more time to create another, like, the next bit of the story. So it was a very good, like, mid-ground for everything.
Yeah, so here's what I'll say about that, right? My current, like, where I'm at with the story, I have now... like, basically written the entirety of the first sort of section of the plot, right? I know where that's all going. Ooh. And it's obviously D&D, the nature of it is that the details of any plot that you write, like, is filled in by the players and their choice, because it's like it's a choose your own adventure game, basically.
Yeah,
like,
you've got to be kind of vague and everything to hope that the players fill out the little bits of detail along the way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the best sort of description I've heard of it in that sense was the DM has control of the sort of macro story, but the micro story is entirely player driven.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's on me to, like, I have a whole bunch of stuff written, but, like, if certain choices that you guys make affect the macro story, that in a way that I think is like, okay, well, that's much better than anything I've written, I'll throw that shit in the garbage. And I have done. Like, there was things that have happened where I had this idea of stuff that I wanted to happen, and then you guys did stuff, and I was like, okay, that's so much cooler than anything I've come up with. Yep. Control Alt Delete, like a whole paragraph, like a whole bit of, like, shit that I had planned, and I was like, nope, fuck all of that, that's all rubbish, throw that in the bin. This is way cooler.
I feel kind of bad now.
Oh, do not. No, absolutely not. Like, this is something, like, I have seen, and because Sam DMs their D&D session with my housemates, with JD and like a bunch of other people, and he has said exactly the same. And pretty much every DM I've ever spoken to or listened to, because I listen to a lot of D&D podcasts and I watch a lot of, like, D&D, like Critical Role and stuff like that, they all say the same thing. Like, if the players come up with content that is better than what you've written, that's nothing to be shamed of. And it's not something you should ever shame your players for, because that's the beauty of D&D, right? Like, that is why it's such a great... long, like, it's been around for so long, and it's still so popular even now, like, 30 plus years later, because of the nature of how the game mechanics let you interact with the world that the DM creates, and it holds up in, like, modern society when we live in such a media driven world. D&D is, like,
it's still so popular and relevant, and still fits within the society. And it affects the society. For instance, like, look at Stranger Things.
Yes, absolutely. That is a tremendous point.
How D&D became a very big, like, staple and plot mechanic for it.
This might not be true, but I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that Stranger Things has done wonders for the resurgence of D&D.
Possibly, yeah. I've seen recently an article that's talking about D&D, like, its resurgence, and basically talking about how we're talking about it now, how it's becoming a lot more, I say, mainstream, and not as like a nerd bastion kind of thing. It's like everyone's knows of it, and everyone thinks that they would like to have a go at it. Yeah.
My first interaction with D&D was when I was in high school. I was about 13 or 14, I think. And that was around the time, I think it was 2nd or 3rd edition. I can't remember which. I'll have to look it up. I loved the idea of role-playing it. I loved the idea of role-playing back then. But a lot of my friends at the time were a lot more sort of rambunctious than I was. Like, I was kind of like I was at times, but, like, I was a lot more interested than they were. But because I was the only one who was like giga interested, there was no one really running it apart from this like elective at school that we could have taken, that I did take. But we only did it for like a couple weeks, and then we did other stuff. And then for years I forgot about D&D. Like I just completely like I was it's really sad, right? Because I could have been playing that entire time, but about 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, around the time when I was moving out of my old house with my new housemates, around that time they were big on a podcast called The Adventure Zone, which is a D&D podcast. And I mean, anyone who likes D&D and likes podcasts has more than likely heard of The Adventure Zone by now. And they were like, dude, you have to listen to this podcast. And I was like, all right, sure, whatever. I listened to like the first couple episodes, and I was just like, really? Like, they were like talking about how this is like one of the most like narrative driven D&D like podcasts ever made, and it's incredible, and the story is amazing. And like, you listen to the first few episodes, and then like it's just like dick jokes constantly, and I was just like, is this the same podcast? I'm confused. It turns out, yes, it is the right podcast, and it does like the narrative does really sort of pick up after episode, like I think it's 5, which is like the second. I think there's like 7 episodes in the first like arc, right, or 7 or 8, and like episode 5, like when shit really hits the fan, like there's a tonal shift, because it's the first time that when you listen to it, it's the first time they've ever played D&D, or no, it's the first time 2 of them have ever played D&D. One of them has had a little bit of experience, and one of them the DM has played like quite a lot, right? And so like they're just sort of goofing their way through the first like things, and then
I think I was similar in your experience, because you recommended it to me like day and fucking night, and I started listening to it and thinking, this doesn't sound right at all, and it didn't grab me. But then again, I didn't give it the time to get to episode 5 and let it get its hooks into me. I was just very like disillusioned with the whole. Is this really what it is?
Yeah. When I was listening to it, like my housemates were just like, just trust us. We know it's rough the first few episodes. Just give it a bit of time. Get to like the end of the first arc, which is like, I think it's about 8 episodes, and you'll be hooked. And I was like, oh, all right, fine. I listened to at the time I was working a lot like on my own, so I would just listen to it while I was working. They were absolutely right. Like by the end of it, I was by the end of that first arc, I was fucking hooked by it, and I couldn't put it down. And so I listened to all of it in the space of a week. I actually recently re-listened to it because I was looking for some inspiration. Like I was just really struggling before our session the other day, like for like DM inspiration, I guess.
As in for like, I don't know what I was going to say then.
So in this sense, it's I feel like whenever we play, I talk a lot more than you guys, and I was listening to like not just the Adventure Zone. I was like watching episodes of like Critical Role, trying to learn from well-established DMs like what's a good balance of like you talking, letting your players talk, to interact with each other, interact with the environment you've created, like that kind of thing, right?
I suppose a lot of it will be like back and forth questions, like
absolutely.
Can I sense anything in this wall? Does this bookshelf move? Do I sense good and evil from Ben? Is he gonna like be possessed at any minute? Because I don't know. Neither does he.
It's a very fun narrative thread that I'm quite looking forward to pull on.
Yeah, definitely. I love my whole side thing.
So Ben, would you like to tell our beloved listeners what happened to you on Friday?
Okay, so you referring to my room in the Crystal Maze, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so my room in the Crystal Maze, I thought it was going to be a druid room, but no, it was a sorcerer room that I was given. So we go in as a team. It's not exactly like the Crystal Maze, it's your own room, like you do single personally. You do as a group. But we go into my room, and there is a mind flayer stood in the middle of the room, and he is obviously the challenge. We've got to kill this guy. But What did I do? I stepped forward and said hello to see if there was like a side arc to this guy, because the previous room was a barred room that when Becky played music, Sam, when Sam played music, these creatures acted in a particular way, and I thought maybe I'll have to try something like off field to try and see what this guy's about. So I said hello, and he said something along the lines of "join me."
He reached out his hand and spoke into your mind. He was like, "Join my side," or something like that.
So I thought, yeah, why not? See if I can like double bluff this guy.
And how did that turn out for you?
Oh yeah, it turned into hentai tentacle porn from there on.
Yeah, it did. So what happened, right, was the Mind Flayer has tentacles where its mouth should be, and they started burrowing into your ears, into your brain, and
I took a hell of a lot of damage.
You sure did, because here's the thing about Mind Flayers. They have a special ability called Mind Removal, where they quite literally like siphon out your brain out of your ears. And there is no it says it in the book, if this lands, player cannot make a death saving throw. They are dead forever.
Oh shit. I am so glad I misty stepped out of that.
Yeah, after your comrades heroically leapt into the fray to try and cut the tentacles from this Mind Flayer's face, you were just like,
idiot.
nah.
You buffoon. No, why'd you do that thing?
Heroically decided to fucking Nightcrawler out of there.
Yeah, I do like Misty Step.
Yeah, Misty Step is an awesome ability. So yeah, that was a lot of fun for me. I was like, if there's anyone who is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to walk up to a Mind Flayer, it's going to be you. I had that one. That was the first room I had, like, written for you guys, was your room, because I was just like, this is so funny to me.
Like, Ben is obviously going to do the bad thing.
And Ben is obviously going to do the thing. I'm so glad that you went along with because here's the thing, in that situation, you could have just been like, no, and then I've been like, alright, cool, well, you find a Mind Flayer. Like, it wouldn't have been nearly as interesting. And I was banking on me knowing you as a person and as a player that you would go along with it, and you did, and I was just like, yes, this is great content.
Yeah, I was thinking as each room had been like custom made for the particular class, I thought this couldn't be just a fight. There's probably got to be some kind of weird way to coerce this guy, maybe. But no,
no, it was
Tentacle
me playing.
Brain headache. It is.
Just wanted to make some head porn with you. That was what he wanted.
Literally fucking with my head.
Hey, where? Puns for days. Love it. Alright, we have talked exhaustively about D&D. Let's move on to our next topic. You haven't got anything prepared for today, have you?
Nope.
Okay, well, my next topic is, I just have current...
Are you dealing with a Mind Flayer at the minute?
I'm dealing with the inability to talk. I do apologize, dear listeners. Sorry, what am I...
Who are you?
I haven't actually... Listen, I haven't got it written down. I had it, but I've lost my piece of paper. I keep wanting to say current politics, but I don't want to talk about politics.
No, because it sucks right now.
Because everything is a fucking dumpster fire. No, what is this word?
Do you want to talk about films?
Well, I want to talk about, like, current stuff that's happening in the world, like specific to you and I, because, okay, here's what we'll talk about, right? Let's talk about...
Right, so yeah. Let's not talk
about
that topic to save ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I found my piece of paper.
Awesome.
Money, yeah, alright, cool. So, top of the list, and I think this is fair enough to say that it is going to be... It's one of the most, like, talked about things currently. Disney Plus. The launch of Disney Plus last couple of weeks in the US, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Not in the UK. Luke says very angrily.
No, not in the UK. Not till March the 13th.
March
30th?
March 31st.
31st. Yeah.
So 13th, but flip it.
Yeah. So what do you get? You get like Disney Plus. You get like Nat Geo, Marvel, Star Wars. Oh, there's something else, isn't it?
There's something else, yeah. But like, I mean, as a streaming service, it has so much stuff already, apparently, and they're like adding new stuff like pretty much like every day. It seems like.
I don't know. Disney has a whole heap ton of stuff to.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of content, like they have all of their like back catalogue of films and like Disney Channel to mid-2000s Disney Channel that they seem to have just thrown all of it on there.
Yeah.
And then all of that stuff they're like remaking, like the Lizzie McGuire remake. That's So Raven might be coming back.
Really?
Like all of this. Yeah, I heard about that on Twitter the other day. So Disney Plus. For anyone who doesn't know, Disney Plus is their new streaming service that they've launched a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, like Netflix and Amazon, like what streaming services. I don't need to explain that to you. And it's got like
exclusive just for Disney branded products.
Yeah, exactly, and that includes like Star Wars, Marvel. They randomly own, I think it's like the Discovery Channel or something, or Nat Geo Wild, or one of those.
I think it's National Geographic. I think it is.
Is it Nat Geo? Okay. Yeah, so they've got all of those kind of shows just on there. All the stuff that you'd want to watch but you can't find on streaming services. It's now just got like one location where you can just pay a subscription and then you'll have access to all of that. So my first question, are you going to get it when it comes out in the UK?
No, I'm not going to. For this reason, I think I'm just done with the number of streaming services there are right now. Because you've got you've got Netflix, you've got Amazon, you've got Now TV, you've got Sky and their variety of packages. You've got so many different streaming services. And you've got YouTube and Twitch as well have some kind of their own streaming service, which there's just too many now. Like when it was just like Netflix and Amazon and maybe Now TV, that was fine. But it's now becoming so diverse that you've got to pay to 7 different services to get what you want,
for sure.
Rather than like a lot of stuff being in like one place or just on TV, because you pay for TV and you can have as many channels as you want and you can expand from there. But it was in one place still, and I think it's just getting too saturated with everyone trying to do their own exclusive thing.
Yeah,
but I suppose that's where the money comes from. Everyone becoming exclusive, and you've got to come to us and us only to get the content that you're after. I'm kind of just done with it.
That's fair enough. I will say, in that, in response to that, we wouldn't have shows like Stranger Things and all of those like really, really good Netflix originals if they didn't have their exclusive streaming services, because all of that money gets put back into their own products, right? Well, not all of it, but a lot of their money gets put back into their own products, and a lot of their products are really well funded because fucking everyone has Netflix now, right? Like more or less, like most people have a Netflix subscription, and then
true, but you're just gonna have to wait until like Now TV or BritBox does their own thing.
I understand what you're saying. Like the exclusivity sucks, right? Because sometimes you want to watch a thing and you can't find it on Netflix, and then you have to have a subscription to Amazon or Now TV, and that's shitty, right? I'm having that literally right now. I really want to watch Rogue One. Because I'm watching all of the Star Wars films in order before the last one comes out. I keep saying the last one. There's no guarantee that it will be the last one, but I have hope that it will be. Sorry, that is something we will come to. I have it written down. Star Wars is a topic we are going to talk about. So let's wait. Let's hold off on that. We'll circle back around to that here in a bit. Yeah, I can't watch Rogue One at the minute because I don't own it on DVD or whatever, and it's not on Netflix or Now TV. So I'm having to borrow a copy of it off of one of our friends. Thank you, by the way, to if they're listening. You know who you are. I'm not going to name you because this is.
Thank God for DVDs and.
Exactly, like. It is a dying form in which media is presented in DVDs and Blu-ray and all of that kind of stuff. But without them, we'd be so lost. It would just be the worst to lose them. Like if everything became exclusively.
It's like the 90s are the saviour of today.
Exactly, 100%. Like, if we didn't have access to that kind of physical media, if everything was digital, it would basically mean that every corporation would gatekeep their products, right?
Definitely.
Because you'd be like, you can't watch our products unless you buy into our subscription. So that the fact that there is a universal form in which the media is presented in physical form that you can buy is such a godsend, because otherwise it would just be an absolute travesty.
Yeah. Else it'd be like corporation gateholding everything digitally.
Yeah, absolutely they would.
And there'd be no entertainment anywhere. We'd be back to the dark ages of rolling dice and dark... Oh, no, wait, we've spoken about D&D.
That was a good one. That really got me. But circling back around to Disney Plus, I personally am gonna get it. I think so. They have like a bunch of like payment options that like Netflix have. Like you can pay
It'll be like
X
one
amount
screen
for
or two screen kind of things.
Yeah, they have. I was speaking to someone in Virginia, and they have the screen that they kind of share it out between like 3 or 4 people, I think, and it's like $3 or $4 each.
Okay.
And I think I think for us, when it comes out, I'll probably see if there's anyone who wants to share it with me. Like my mum probably will, maybe my brother. Like I share my Netflix subscription with my mum and my brother, and we all pay like £2 a month for it.
I wonder if it'll do like Netflix does in you'll have like profiles under one account.
I mean, it's my account, my Netflix account, and then I pay for it, and then they give me money. So
okay, yeah.
I imagine there'll be one account holder, and then if you are sharing it, like you like with specific people, you like you know how you can elect like which devices have access to your account. Like my mum's TV has access, my brother's computer has access.
Yeah.
I have it on my phone and my PlayStation on my 4 devices that I've elected to have Netflix.
Yeah.
They are meant to pay me. I think my brother pays me. My mum hasn't, but then my mum pays my phone. My mum pays my phone bill, so I don't ever ask her for it. So
it all comes round one way or the other.
yeah, exactly. But I imagine they'll do something similar with like you'll elect a number of devices, and then there'll be a payment plan for that number of devices.
Yeah. I can't imagine they'd do it anywhere else.
No, I mean like it's a really like efficient way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna do a pass on that. I'm not gonna.
Do you think your significant other will want it?
I think it, not having looked at what's on there, and I don't know what. I think she would like it, but it would have to be a thing. How much is on there to how much is like available elsewhere? Because there's a lot of like episodes of stuff that are like just put up on YouTube and.
There's a lot of crossover with other media.
Yeah, so it's whether it's worth it regarding what exclusives are
content
on there. Yeah, for however
Tell you
much
what,
it's going
though,
to be.
I want to get it pretty much exclusively for The Mandalorian.
Yeah, true.
The Mandalorian looks incredible.
It
And
does.
that is an amazing segue by me, by the way, everyone bask in my glory, into the wonderful world of Star Wars.
So
Let's talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, we've got it's the Last Skywalker coming out on
The Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of the Skywalker is the 20th as it comes out, or is it the 18th?
The 18th. So it'll be the. I don't know about you, but we have midnight releases for it.
Yeah.
I imagine
midnight 18th.
all of us do. Thursday the 8th. So that's here in 2 weeks. Holy shit. The existential dread just set in. You know how that's like you start like theory crafting about how bad it's going to be, and then it's never as bad as you think it's going to be, and then
this
like
will be bad.
in the same space it's as bad as you can possibly imagine. So I don't know about you, but we have a thing where we have all of our shows going in at midnight, and then we have a staff show that also playing concurrently.
That's like an hour later.
No. It starts at 12:30.
Yeah.
For all of the staff in one of our small screens, because we're showing it. We have 9 screens showing the midnight show.
Oh wow! Which lucky one isn't?
Screen 10 and 11.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's 1 to 9 are all showing, and then 10 and 11 are not.
Yeah. So so backstory to this: we both work in a cinema. We're not going to say which chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
For safety, lest
Yeah,
our
yeah.
doors get kicked in by cinema police.
FBI, open up. No, what would it be? Cinema BI? CBI? I don't know. That was a really dumb goof that I tried to make just now, and it just... I felt it die. You know when you're trying to make something funny and you just feel it like dying in your throat and you're like, this isn't funny anymore.
You feel like dead is sometimes dead is better.
Yeah, wop, wop, wop. But yeah, so for context, we both work in a cinema, and we have both worked Star Wars releases before, and like big releases, right? And we know how busy it can be and how difficult, for some reason, right, working in a cinema brings out the worst in people. Like, we seem to attract like some of the worst. Well, my where I am does. I don't know what it's like for you, where you are.
It's not bad where I am. Good. So your cinema is located in like by a shopping mall. So like you've got lots of
it's
people
right in the center
coming
of town,
and going out.
right?
There's lots of people like just nearby anyway who can drop in and out, see what's what. Whereas my one is like in a little retail park that's like a bit of a drive away from the town, so you've got to have a car, so you can't really like stumble upon it if you're walking around. Does it make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
your cinema is the kind that people are going to specifically, right?
Yeah.
Because they want to go to the cinema.
Yes.
We get a lot of people are like, oh, there's a cinema. Yeah, let's just walk in. Like, we get a lot of walk-ins, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think people are like, okay, this is convenient. It's in town. We want to go shopping. We can go cinema. We can go get food. Like, literally everything where I am is like within 50 meters of each other. Whereas where you're at, like, people are like, have decided I'm going to the cinema today. Like, that is the thing that I'm doing with my time.
Yeah. It's like a isolated event kind of thing.
Yeah, so I assume it's a lot quieter then, because you used to work where I am, and then you moved away.
Yeah, I transferred over to this site. It is quieter, but it's quieter, but it's a bit smaller as well. Like this particular site isn't as big as the one there.
Okay.
And it's a bit.
How many screens have you got?
So we've got 8 screens compared to your 11.
Well,
the screens are some of the screens are a bit bigger, and we don't have anywhere near as small screens as you do. Everything's on one level. Everything's just easier. But everything's run a bit differently. But
is it like just one long corridor and then screens either side?
So it's like you walk in and you've got the food stall in front of you, and then you've got 2 corridors, one on the left, one on the right, and one corridor has 4 screens, the other corridor has 4 screens.
Oh, that's so much better.
It's a bit better, but it has its own little tricks as well. But anyway, we're still going to have a shared ton of people for Star Wars anyway.
Oh, for sure. Like, it's just universally accepted that it is just going to be tremendously busy.
It's
like
fill.
The thing with this film is that the way it's being presented is that it is the last film in this saga. Like, even in the trailer, there's like the text comes up on the screen and says the saga will end, the story will last forever.
Yeah.
Implying that this is the final film in the Skywalker saga, which is what I believe the official title of it all is, right?
Of Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and then this would be
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. This would be this 3 film arc.
Yeah.
Done.
And also the ending to the 9 or 10/11 if you count Rogue One and Solo in that. Yeah, like the ending of that Star Wars era. It's hard for me to not be a bit cynical about it, because I said that this will be the final film like a bunch of times, right? But they've never really presented it in a way like this, where it is like this is the final film. Like,
where it's presented in the trailers as this is it, definitely it, and it follows suit with the 3 film arc of the previous set. Like, you've got the prequels,
exactly.
sequels,
like
and
then it has like a really, like it has a preset sort of mode in which they present their media, right? And they are following along that blueprint here. I just hope that then it's not like further down the line, like episode 10, 11, 12. Like, that would be shitty, right? Like that would be way too much. That like ending it here feels like a really good thing.
Yeah, I think from this point on, it would be Disney Plus exclusive Mandalorian style. Maybe
It'd be oversaturation, right? It would be. Yeah, so I'm all for expanded universe stuff, because I am a massive Star Wars fan, right? I have read a lot of the expanded universe stuff. I've watched a lot of, like, Clone Wars cartoons, and, like, all of the, like, sort of extra expanded universe stuff that it exists in media. I love all that. Like, a lot of it is really good. A lot of it is really bad, don't get me wrong, but, like, that is the nature of, media, right?
Yeah, there's going to be a few bad eggs in there.
Yeah, exactly. And I love a lot of the expanded universe stuff, and I would be super down for them to do much like The Mandalorian, like expanded universe, like TV shows about like prequel stuff. Like if you go all the way back, like way before the Clone Wars, and like way before the Rise of the Sith, like back to like the Old Republic. There's a lot of like media about the Old Republic, and I would love for like a TV show about that kind of shit, which is what The Mandalorian is basically. It's like prequel story about the race of Mandalorians.
Yeah.
And it is looking like it's very good. Also, I want a Baby Yoda, but I really want a Baby Yoda. It's so cute.
I feel a bit bad with this because I've seen so much of it. I'm kind of over Baby Yoda right now. It's like I've seen 4,001 memes about Baby Yoda right now, like today, and I'm like, cool. Can I have some other content?
Literally today alone. But I will say, like, so I have my yardstick for oversaturation in media is the song "Numb" by Linkin Park, because when that was like at the height of its popularity, it was played on every radio station. It was played on every TV station that played rock music. Like, it was so overplayed that I hated it, right? And Linkin Park is my favorite band. They always have been, and they probably always will be. But I hated that song for a long time because it was so overplayed. And it's always, every time something becomes oversaturated in media, I like compare it to the song "Numb."
Yeah.
And
yeah, you've got to have like a benchmark.
This is becoming the sort of Numb of memes currently.
Yeah, it's risen so quickly.
And everyone's jumping on it, right? Like, everyone's like, we have to jump on this meme while it's still like trending.
Yeah, that's pop culture and internet culture as it is today. Is like, find the latest thing, meme the shit out of it, get it as viral as possible, move on to tomorrow's thing. I'm just waiting for tomorrow's thing. Come on, I want something else. I want like content that's not Baby Yoda. I want like factual stuff. I want like newsworthy stuff. I don't want like a Baby Yoda versus Baby Groot animated fight off sequence happening. I'm like, can I have something else in my Facebook feed? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ben the hipster.
I'm done. I feel the flannel.
To be fair, that's not just an isolated thing, right? We call Ben a hipster all the time. It's part of like his aesthetic, and we love it. And we love you, but at the same time, you are such a hipster.
Ugh, so mainstream.
Gross, disgusting, gross, mainstream. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to a topic I have written here as gaming rumors. So these are the rumors for either potential titles that be announced in the next sort of 6 months, because obviously E3 will be a big one for gaming announcements in June, and things that we already know are coming out, but rumors about the pre-existing titles that we know are going to be happening. And I will start us off with possibly the biggest game coming out in, I'd say, the last 5-6 years, The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, that's March, isn't it?
The Last of Us Part 2, March 28th.
Yeah, end of March.
Wow, end of March is going to be hella expensive for me. Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to work a lot for the end of March. Christ. So, Last of Us 2, for anyone who doesn't know, The Last of Us is a like sort of survival adventure game. Well, The Last of Us, the original one, is a survival adventure game. This is the part 2 in the series. was announced almost 5 years ago, if you can believe that.
Yeah, it was a long while ago.
A long while ago, and it is coming out. Big rumor coming out of, I think it was the PlayStation's official Twitter account, was that The Last of Us 2 is the biggest game that Naughty Dog has ever made.
Ooh.
Right? Like, let that sink in. Naughty Dog, the creators of Uncharted, Crash Bandicoot, like, all of these, like, pretty big, like, Uncharted, I don't know if you've ever played any of them. Some of, like, Uncharted 4 is a massive game. And it's like a 50-hour campaign.
Yeah,
you can do it in sooner than that, but, like,
time.
That's... You're moving into sort of Final Fantasy levels of content in that respect, and people are saying, like, I was reading, like, some of the comments and, like, rumors and stuff from, like, other gaming media are, like, comparing The Last of Us 2, like, the length of it to Final Fantasy titles, which is wild. It is absolutely wild, because the first game, you could bash out the campaign in 10 to 12 hours. Like, it officially released, it was a 15 to 20 hour campaign, right?
The original,
but that's if
Uncharted.
Yeah, no, the first Last of Us.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, the first so it's a 15 to 20 hour campaign was the, but that's if you're, like, really meticulous and slow going. Like, speedrunners and shit have done it in ridiculous times, but, like, the average is about 12 to 15 hours was, like, how like the general public were, how long they're reckoning this will be upwards of 60 hours, the campaign.
60
like,
hours?
60 hours, and that's just campaign. That's not even side questing. That is
hang
massive
on.
amount.
The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Was there much side quest? I didn't think there was any side questing in the first one.
No, the first one is pretty much an entirely linear game.
Yeah.
Like, this one apparently is massively open world. Like, there's a massive open world section of the game with lots of side questing and shit. Like, apparently that's, like, a complete like, there is the main quest that you can... So here's the thing, right? You could probably smash out the main quest in 30 hours, right? If you just did the main quest.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not doing any of the collectibles. That's not doing any of the side questing. Like, they reckon, like, the main quest itself, on average, is like, the main quest itself, if you were to do nothing else, be 30 to 35 hours.
You shouldn't need collectibles in that kind of game, in my opinion. For the
first one had really cool
you're there for the story. In
yeah,
my
no,
opinion.
100%.
Like, you could
the
have
only
the
collectibles-
Firefly tags alongside it, but that should be it. You shouldn't have any other side quests. You shouldn't be concerned with anything else other than, like, survival and the main story of what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. But, like, just let it sink in for a second that the main quest itself is 30 to 35 hours.
Yeah.
That's more than double what the first game had, which is insane to me.
That is a lot.
So much content to consume. And apparently the game is, like, it's just unbelievably massive. Apparently the game is going to be on 2 discs, is another rumor.
Wow.
Be the first PS4 game to have a 2-disc campaign, because that's how much they have for the game.
Okay, I was about to say that surely if it's that long, maybe they're going to have to, like, reuse a lot of content and stuff that they've got in it. But if they're spreading it across 2 discs, that sounds massive.
I imagine what they'll have a lot of flashbacks as well, and I think a lot of the content, like, especially within, because it's set 5 years later, right?
Yeah.
It's set 5 years later after the ending of the first game, and I imagine there'll be a lot of flashbacks to periods of time, you know, in that 5-year gap. There'll be flashbacks to, you know, stuff that happened way back when. Like, they have, like, pre-established backstories for both Joel and Ellie.
Yeah.
There's even DLC for Ellie's backstory.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was awesome. Love that. And so I imagine there'll be, like, flashbacks, like, a lot of them, to sort of fill in plot gaps and stuff like that for whatever you're doing at the time. And I think because of that, there's going to be a lot of... That's why it's a lot bigger, is because they're going to be not reliant, but they'll use as like a plot tool. They'll use flashbacks to sort of move the story and stuff.
We'll have to see how it works, because whether it flashes back to 5 years ago, flashes back to something that happened in between those 5 years. We'll have to see how it works out, how it pans out. See what Naughty Dog do.
the other gaming rumor, and this one I will admit is a bit more self-serving because I know that you haven't played, or I think you haven't played God of War, have you?
No, I've seen people play, but I've not myself played yet.
So you know the story, right?
Yeah.
So another big rumor, again, thank you Twitter for being the source of all of my knowledge in the universe, is that the Santa Monica studio, the studio that created the creative God of War, have recently been hiring people to come in as consultants for different forms of mythological information and stuff like that. The theory behind that being that God of War 2 is going ahead. Spoilers, by the way, massive spoiler alert for anyone listening to this. If you haven't played of God of War, don't listen to this next part. The ending of God of War, the secret ending for God of War, Ben, I don't know if you know this. Do you know the secret ending?
I don't, but we'll just go along with it.
Well, okay, well...
Okay, well, I've now just read it.
Okay, perfect. So the secret ending to God of War is you as Kratos and Atreus, you go and lie down on your beds, you're there, you're sleeping, and then boom, there's lightning everywhere. You go and you pull open your door, and there's Thor standing outside your door after you've murdered his children, Magnus and Modi, in the campaign of God of War. And he's there, he like pulls back his cloak and reveals Mjolnir, there's lightning crackling everywhere, and that's when the game actually ends. And it sets up the sequel, and where you'll be like fighting off and probably slaying, I imagine, or maybe not, like depending on how they want to go with it. But you'll be fighting up against Odin and Thor. That's the main theory, right? But in this article that I was reading on Twitter, they have recently been bringing in people who are like experts on other mythological cultures or just like ancient cultures, and like they have like experts on ancient Egyptian culture, ancient like China, Japan, and like all of this other stuff. And the theory is that they're setting up basically like they're laying the groundwork for future iterations of God of War, where they move away from Norse mythology and moving into like other aspects of mythology. And that's really cool to me because I love the idea of not sort of staying within one mythology, because there's a lot of it out there, dude.
Yeah.
Like I did ancient history at university, and holy shit, there's so much like so much content. Like ancient Egyptian mythology is insane, right? Like there's so much there, there's so much they could explore, and I love the idea of them going into that, because I played it, as you know, quite recently for the first time. I played it like about a month ago, and I absolutely loved it, and it was definitely deserving of winning Game of the Year last year when it did. It definitely was probably the best game.
Definitely.
But yeah, I love the idea of not sort of resting on your laurels and like getting complacent with just one thing. I love the idea of being brave enough to move into something new. That was what they did with this game, because obviously the God of War franchise like obviously was always about ancient Greek mythology, right? Like that's what, and they had like 3-4 games about that, and they got progressively worse and worse, right?
Definitely.
And a lot of people were saying God of War, that franchise is dead, and they were like, all right, cool, let's just make something entirely new. Oh shit, this game is one of the best games we've ever played. Holy crap, this is amazing. I love it when studios decide to go in that direction and be brave enough to try something. Like that's great. I love that.
And with that, they've got so much more space, because there are so many more civilizations with their own
oh, absolutely.
Like belief system and like gods hierarchies and things. There's so much more to explore. Like you said with Egyptian, and there's going to be so much more in Japanese and Chinese culture that they could explore, which could be really, really cool. It could be. Oh no, I've just had a thought of it being the Wolverine origin film. Was it Origin?
Yeah.
Where he fights samurai.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun
Jeez, I haven't watched that film in ages.
It's going to be a fun juxtaposition of Kratos
I want them to fight dragons, my dude. I want them to fight dragons so bad.
Oh, that could be cool.
Like Chinese dragons, imagine. That'd be so sick. Because when you are fighting Baldur on top of the World Serpent.
Mm-hmm.
And that entire sequence where you're like sliding down its back and shit like that. Imagine doing that on a Chinese dragon. That'd be such a sick thing to do.
Really cool. That'd be really like fun to like watch as well, because it's going to be so colourful and so like intricate as Chinese dragons are. They're going to be so interesting.
I really hope they play in that space. That would be great.
Well, we'll have to see what they do.
Last gaming rumor, it's not really a rumor, but just something I just want to touch on, like, really quickly, is Halo Reach being released on PC.
Oh, yes. I saw that and thought, that could be really, really, really fun.
Yeah, I know that you're a big PC gamer.
Yeah. If I game, I prefer to be on PC, but every now and then I do come over to PlayStation, because it's what everyone else has.
Peasant land, as I like to call it.
Peasant 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I prefer PC because I've built my PC up to like a higher spec than I think this is higher spec than PlayStation 4 at least.
I imagine it would be.
Yeah.
Like I don't think until the release of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlet that you need much in the way of like specs to be a better functioning like
this plays
system.
Rainbow Six Siege. It used to play it at 2K resolution, and still hit 40 frames per second.
Yeah, but you have like a lot of shit on your computer that you haven't like sorted out because you are a hoarder of stuff.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so, like I reckon you could probably get back to that kind of thing if you were to like clean out your computer a little bit. Well, maybe upgrade some of the drivers.
No, I think it's okay. It could do it, but I turned down the settings because this monitor doesn't show 2K. Why would I need it to want to try and render things in 2K? So I told it, no, you're rendering only in HD, and that whacked the frame rate right up. If I could, I would get a 2K or a 4K screen. It'd be so awesome to see.
But yeah, I just wanted to touch on Halo being released on PC because that's really great and like people have been clamoring for that because it's such a well-loved title within that.
And I think Reach is one of my
sphere.
favourite games of all time.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people's like favorite games. And by the way, this is sort of out of context of this podcast. I don't know if you know this, but there is a Halo Reach content tournament later tonight.
How do you mean content tournament?
So like Twitch streamers and like old Halo pros and stuff are all going to be like taking part. Like, have you ever heard of Twitch Rivals?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think there's a Halo Reach, but it's not just Twitch streamers. It's like Mixer, YouTube, like, and a lot of like old Halo. Ninja is actually the one who's like hosting it, by the way. Yeah, because he actually started as a Halo pro.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was Halo pro back when it was Halo 3 and Halo Reach. I think he is a world champion actually. I think Halo Reach.
That's really really
when
cool.
He was on Evil Geniuses, I think. But yeah, that's how he started. Before he became like the world's most popular streamer.
Sorry, Pewds.
And then his massive. Sorry, Pewds. Unlucky. You had your moment in the sun. I still think Pewds is probably the most popular YouTuber. Like, I wouldn't say that like Ninja is a more popular YouTuber or content creator than Pewds, but like,
yeah,
I think in terms of action. But like, that's the thing. Pewds doesn't stream.
Yeah, I think
he does. I think he does like very rarely, and he streams on YouTube.
Yeah,
so.
I think one of the. But there's different types of YouTubers. Like we say, there's people that stream, people that do like vlogs, like lifestyle vlogs. There's people that do gaming videos. There's lots of different types out there. But I think definitely he is one of the top.
He'll be up there.
Yeah.
I think he always will be. Just like he has like over 100 million subscribers. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like stupid numbers big.
It's like that once in a lifetime style of popularity.
Yeah,
like how like there are certain names throughout history of like the top of their respective brand, I guess.
Yeah, he's gonna be a name that's gonna be around for, I'd say like good.
He's
10,
the Michael
15 years.
Jordan of YouTube, basically. Okay, that's all I've got for gaming. Where are we at? I've got a few other things that we can talk about. A lot of them. Here's the thing: like my list is a bit self-serving because I have stuff that I want to talk about. But is there anything you want to talk about? Like just off the dome, like anything you think about?
I think we've covered like the stuff that I spent like 5 minutes thinking about this whilst we were setting this up as to what to talk about. But I don't know. We've already talked about the stuff that I would have already thought of that's currently going on in my head, which was D&D and that kind of our kind of narrative, our game, our story kind of thing. But I'm perfectly happy to go along with what you've got.
Okay, well, something I've written down here is anime.
Okay.
Just as a broad topic. You're not a big anime fan, are you? Or you're not a big anime watcher?
I like anime, but I find that I struggle to like set time aside for anime. Because I feel myself with either work or current video games that I'm really thoroughly enjoying.
Well, here's something that people might not know about you and me, is that the way we consume media is very different. I am very much a binge watcher of things.
And I am very much...
You are not.
No, definitely not.
Like a one episode a night kind of person.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like anime, especially existing anime, lends itself to people who binge watch, right?
Yeah, definitely, because there's hundreds and hundreds of episodes of many different like franchises and series, if that's a word.
Yeah.
You've almost got to binge watch to catch up and be relevant.
Exactly. I found myself... So the latest season of My Hero Academia started here a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And I found myself watching it week to week, and I was getting frustrated that I couldn't watch all of it. So I was like, okay, what I'll do in this time while it's being released on a weekly basis, I'll start watching other stuff. And stuff that I can watch, like binge watch, because I just don't enjoy having to wait.
You're an impatient watcher.
Exactly, yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I'll watch other stuff, I'll listen to other stuff in that period of time while it's being released, now that I am caught up, to catch up with other things. But you get yourself into this, like, infinite cycle, this infinite loop of catching up on stuff while waiting for other stuff, and it's rough.
Yeah. I think if I were to do that, I would lose track of what I'm waiting for, what I'm currently watching. Yeah,
so the way I combat it is I have a list of things that I'm currently watching. There's a long list of anime and TV and other bits of media that I'm currently watching, and if I am caught up, it has a tick next to it, and if I'm not caught up, it doesn't. It's a really easy way of just like keeping track of what I am and am not currently listening to, watching, or whatever.
That's real wise. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm getting old. I've learned some wisdom in my old age. No, actually, Alex was like, you should do this thing, and I was like, wait, that's really clever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I have been watching like animes of old. I've started to recently restart watching One Piece.
Okay.
Which is the longest running anime of all time. There are nearly 1,000 episodes now.
Oh, no thanks.
It has been going since like 1991 or something.
Jesus.
Or something ridiculous like that. So I think they're up to like episode 980 something. But yeah, nearly 1,000 episodes. I am on episode 350, and I started watching this year, right? I started early this year. I've been watching it from sort of arc to arc. I've been watching an entire arc, then putting it aside and watching other stuff, because it's a lot. There's a lot to consume there, and it's tough, right? Like it's you get bored with shit, like, if you're watching it constantly.
Definitely, you've got to have something
but
different.
The other day, I was like, okay, cool, I'm kind of caught up on stuff, I'll start watching One Piece again. And I'm kind of sad that I had waited this long to start, because the latest arc is incredibly good.
Okay.
Like, it is so good. And I'm kind of sad that I waited this long to start watching it, and but I'm glad I'm watching it now, I guess. Like, it's very good. But yeah, like, anime is one of those like weird forms of media, right? Because like there are so many different concepts, I guess, within anime, like so many different things that have been made, and there's so many like genres within anime. Like there's like the sporting anime, there's like long form like shonen adventure anime, there's like isekai, like harem anime, like there's all of these like concepts within this like broad spectrum of stuff, and there's like umbrella term that we'll call anime. Like within that, there's so much going on, and like so many different styles, and there's like horror anime and mech anime and slice of life and comedy, and this anime I feel like is one of those things. Like there's probably something for everyone if you give it the time of day. And I think that's the problem a lot of people have, right? Is giving anime the time of day, or like just having the time to do it. Because if you're in that world, like it becomes part of your like routine, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna watch anime because I love it and because it's something I really enjoy, and I've found my niche within anime of stuff that I enjoy watching. But getting into it, I feel like that first step is always really rough if you don't have a lot of free time.
Yeah, it's
Because
very
if you have free time, right,
rewarding.
you can just sort of like dip your toe in wherever you are. You can just be like, okay, try this, try that, whatever. But I feel like the kind of person who like works a lot or has a lot of other stuff on their plate, like it's not something you can just sort of easily fall into.
No, you need to have already been in there. You need to already be gripped by what it is you're watching to enjoy it, because otherwise, like you said, you're going to be spending ages like trying to find something that you like and watching through to a point where you're invested in it. And if you haven't got the time or haven't really got the energy to seek it out and sift through all these different genres, then the whole thing is almost lost on you in a way, I think.
Yeah, like conceptually, I feel like it's the kind of thing that you have to allow yourself the time to sort of become immersed in. Otherwise, you're just not going to enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've got written here current topics, current world stuff. But is there anything going on in the world that you'd like to talk about? Like any like article you read recently that you found really interesting that we could just chat about?
Let's have a think. What was the last thing I read? Oh no, that was a wiki.
Wikipedia, that well-known source for reliable information.
Yeah, last thing. Well, it's a very self-serving me kind of thing. So I'm recently back into a video game called Rainbow Six Siege, which is like a highly tactical team versus team shooter, and I've not played for a while, and lots of things have changed. Like some well-known maps and levels have been tweaked a little bit, so there's like new angles of attack, there's new like windows, things have been blocked off, like things have changed, and there's new characters as well that I'm having to figure out a metaphor to counter. And I think yesterday, a new round of operators, these are what the classes are called, they're called operators, were released.
Okay.
I think one's called Wakao or Wamao or something, and I can't remember what the other one is called. The attacker has this gadget. Everyone has their own particular thing. The attacker that was released has like a gadget destroying device. She shoots it either through a window or like towards a wall, and it explodes in a certain radius and destroys a lot of like placed gadgets around as like a gadget clearing device. The other guy has a similar thing, but on a defensive side. Like he places these gadgets on a wall, and it magnetizes like flying projectiles within the room. So if someone shoots like a breaching charge through the window, it magnetizes the breaching charge and destroys it. Or if someone throws,
awesome.
If someone throws a grenade, it magnetizes that and destroys it.
Huh, that's very cool.
And so I've been trying to figure out how to counter that and work on new metas alongside learning everything that I've missed within the past year or two, because I love this game. It's a very, very tense, high action, twitch in the wrong way and you're dead, and it's very clutch gameplay, which I really, really like.
Yeah. I mean, I've never played it myself, but I've seen people play it, and I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
And like my own sort of experience with that kind of thing is I think it's a thing that a lot of online multiplaying games have. You have to like learn the meta, like learn how to be effective, and like my experience of that will come from League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
It's a sort of high action battle arena. Like it's not as I mean, it's tactical, but it's a lot more sort of macro decision making in terms of tactics.
I
I feel like it's a lot of individual micro decisions within Siege that affect the gameplay. Yeah, and you have to make those decisions yourself. Whereas I feel like there's a lot more sort of macro decisions in League of Legends.
Yeah, I think in League you have to think about your skills in like the order of use because of cooldown, and how to play best for your team rather than Siege, which is like a very don't go down this corridor if they're here because they've got these lines of sight. You much rather go this way because you get this advantage over them, and so on and so forth. And I don't think. Am I right in saying that League doesn't have maps that are quite that varied? Is it just like textural differences?
No, it's literally there is only one map.
Okay.
Like there is one map that you play on, so it is always the same. What makes it different from game to game is the fact that they have like nearly 150 champions and they all interact with each other in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the variance is not in the map; it's in the
who you're playing
unique interaction. Exactly. Yeah. The map for the new season has been updated for League of Legends, though. It's the same map, but like it's like
it's a little bit shinier.
Texturally, it's not shinier. It's actually like changed like sections of the map, which they do every year. It's still like it's still the same sort of basic structure, but like the actual like specific details or specific textures within the map are slightly different.
Okay. Oh no, there is another thing that I'm still excited for. Which is Minecraft Dungeons.
Oh yes, 100%.
Which is Minecraft meets Diablo.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to potentially like play it with you and other friends because I think it would definitely suit everyone that I know down to a T.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean it's Minecraft RPG basically. It looks incredible. Yeah, I'm super down to play that when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely, because I do love like a good team versus environment kind of game.
Yeah.
With Minecraft's kind of visuals and graphics and like art style, I really enjoy that. And to be able to play in a team that we can diversify and everyone has their own like specialization, I really like the idea of it.
Yep, for sure. I want like a D&D video game that we can all play.
Oh, there's got to be. There's probably got to be loads of comments shouting, well, obviously you got this game and that game. I'm sure we could find something that would suit that. If only like Skyrim was multiplayer, or like easily multiplayer.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I think that would be perfect, I think.
Okay. So the last topic I've got written here is I've just got it written as Twitter trends, right?
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto the Twitter trending page. I'm going to pick a trend, and we are going to weigh in on that particular trend.
Okay, let's go to Twitter.
So I'm just going to pick one at random, I think.
Okay.
Okay, let's pick number 2. This is a really important one, I think. Is the trend is my mental health in 3 words is the trend, right?
Oh, okay.
bit of a like departure from what we have been talking about up till now, but it's still an important thing, right, to talk about.
Definitely.
My mental health in 3 words: chaotic, tired, and I don't know. Can I use chaotic again? Because that seems to be my entire mental headspace at the minute. It's just a lot of chaos going on. Trying to balance like DMing and just like there's just a lot at the minute. Like my entire like brain capacity has just been taken up with.
Well, how about chaotic, overworked, and tired?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
That sounds like not a healthy thing. Like, what would I say to that? Maybe like time management.
Yeah.
Like maybe you need to maybe try and dedicate blocks of time to doing this, that, and the other, and maybe even like restrict work a little bit to suit that more.
Yep.
or to say that maybe you don't go later than 11 o'clock, so it pushes all your shifts into like the day. Maybe I'll have like a talk with HR about that, see if that's a possible thing.
Yeah, the nature of what we do is that we have to work late, right? And it sucks
Yeah.
because your sleeping pattern's shot to shit. But because I've been doing it for the longest time now, I am never more energized than at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I hit my sort of stride at that time.
Yeah.
And my creativity is like never more effective than at those times. And I am like that's when I do like the bulk of my writing, right? Is because I'm so mentally and physically awake at the shittiest times. And then we were you texted me last night being like, Sarah, do you want to hit up at like 12 o'clock? And I was like, no ways, that ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna be awake till then. Didn't wake up until 1:30. So I was absolutely like right in thinking that there's just no way that I'd be up at that time, because that's where I'm at the minute. Like my mental, like my whole spiel at the minute is like, I'm just like, I go to bed really late, I wake up really late, and then I work in the evenings until really late. Like that's my whole thing at the minute. I'm not working today, so I could probably, go to bed earlier if I want to. But like, here's the thing: I woke up at like 1:30, and then I didn't get out of bed until 2:30. Like I'm not gonna be tired until really late, and because most people are awake like 16 hours a day. 16 hours a day for me, that's like 4 or 5 in the morning, and it sucks. And I've tried, right? I have tried my best to force myself to go to bed early, and I just lay there in the dark and not able to sleep. And it's the worst. It is the freaking worst.
Yeah, it gets to a point with sleeping that you'll either wake up perfectly fine and ready to go, or the other 90% of the time will be, I just feel like death, and
Yeah, exactly.
What would mine be? I think my 3 would be worry,
Yep.
uncertainty. Is there a word for no energy? Like I feel I'm on low battery all the time.
Lethargic.
That's probably it. That'll probably it. Yeah. We'll go with that. Yeah, lethargic as well.
So I'm just looking at some of the some of the posts that have used this. So I've clicked on the hashtag, and I'm just reading some of the things.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are there's so much to be like depressed or sad about. There's a lot of people on here that are just like struggling, like that kind of. This one's, I'm fucking tired. Yeah, me too, bro. I hear you.
Yeah,
I got you. But like there's some comedy posts, and but like I think the general consensus that a lot of people's mental health is really struggling at the minute, because there's a lot like going on that there's a lot happening in the world that just sucks, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are struggling, and if that happens to be you, if you listen to this, like I'm here. I'm here for you. I believe in you. You can do this. Oh, you got this. That's all I'm going to say on that, because I'm not a therapist, and I'm not going to try and fix people's problems. That is not what I'm here to do.
No.
Is there any other? No, there are no other really interesting trends, actually. There's Van Halen. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this thing?
Oh,
so
Billie Eilish had never heard of Van Halen. Like, who the fuck?
Yeah.
How?
I was like, to be fair, she is only 19 years old, and Van Halen haven't exactly been popular for the last amount of time. I'm not going to say 19 years because that would be offensive, and that's untrue. But Van Halen did hit the height of their popularity in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So she was not alive then. However, the fact that she, a musician, said that, like, if she was just a normal person, right? If she was just like your average Joe who was that age, had never heard of Van Halen, fair enough. But she's in that sphere. She is in the music industry, and she'd never heard of Van Halen. That's the funny thing to me, right? Is that she's like, oh yeah, never heard of Van Halen. She's a fucking musician. I was cracking up listening to that.
How do you? It's your profession.
Literally, that is your sphere of influence. That's really funny to me. Speaking of Billie Eilish, did you see that she's done the same interview for a certain publication for 3 years in a row, word for word, and every single time she does it, she's like, it's like this is your lifestyle, like you did this when you were 16, you did this when you were 17, 18, 19, like the same word for word interview, but every time she's gotten like a year older.
I don't think so.
It's a really cool thing. You should check it out. The interview's not that interesting. Like, she's just like her talking about her albums and whatever. But like the actual like content it's a really cool, unique idea of doing the exact same interview, word for word, 3 years in a row.
I think I remember seeing an interview of her. Like, she did it before and after she got famous. Like, she had a interview with someone when she was like not popular as she is now, and then she did an interview and she watched it back, and it was like saying, if you could say anything to past you, what would you say? And there was lots of things that I think conflicted, that future her said differently to previous past her, and the ideals between pre-fame and post-fame were like quite interesting from what she was saying. I can't remember how long ago it was now, actually, but yeah, it was cool to see how fame changes her in a young person as well.
Sorry, I've just been distracted by the fact that in the last hour, the next James Bond trailer has just been released online.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, No Time to Die is what it's called.
I've seen the what do you call it? The character posters for it.
Yeah,
and they look very cool. I'm still a big fan of the young Q, Ben Whishaw. What's his name?
Oh yeah, Ben. That's because he is literally you.
Yeah.
He's literally you. If you'd ever got into acting, you would be that character.
Definitely. Like
you'd be typecast as that character and everything. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thick glasses, Cardi, bring it.
Dork. Tech genius.
Yes.
Did I mention Dork? That's very cool. Yeah, I'll definitely go watch that. I like James Bond. I've liked most of the James Bonds. I didn't like what was it, Quantum of Solace. That was
didn't he say that this?
He said that the last one would be his last. What was it? What was the one he did before? Skyfall? Was that it? No,
Spectre, wasn't it?
Spectre. Yeah, he said that would be his last one.
Yeah,
and then he's back for this one.
I thought he said it like 2 or 3 films ago.
Oh, I think he keeps being like coerced or enticed back in. I'm not really sure by what. Probably money. I would imagine.
I think it begins with M and ends with Annie. Yeah,
and a lot of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Daniel Craig,
I'll make this the last one. Oh no, maybe one more.
Sure.
Or maybe after the next one. Yeah, after the next one.
Yeah. Speaking of Daniel Craig, I really want to go watch Knives Out. Apparently, it's very good.
It does look very good. From the bits that I've seen of it, doing our job. I've heard his accent, and it's I think it's comedically bad. Like it's
oh really?
It's him doing.
Wait, do you think it's specifically
him doing a South American accent?
Wait, as South American as in Deep South, or South American as in Mexican?
As in Logan Lucky.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that sounds incredible.
So I don't know how serious to take the film.
Wait, maybe he's actually doing a satire of himself. That would be incredible. Imagine. Maybe it is entirely. I really want to watch it now. Actually, I'm not working today. I might go watch it today.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. I might watch that a little bit later. But yeah, that's cool. I like James Bond.
Yeah.
Like, I think us being British and a bit nerdy, like James Bond is kind of a nerdy thing. Like, I think it's kind of pre-established that we'd like that kind of thing.
And I think Rami Malek as the villain is going to be really cool.
Yup.
Yeah.
Love Rami Malek and everything he's up. Have you seen Mr. Robot?
No, I've been told that it's really, really good. But
yeah, it's really great.
But again, going back to earlier, it's a thing that I kind of look at a series or something and think about, like, the time watching it is almost like work. Like, how much work have I got to do to be caught up so I can talk to people about this?
Yeah.
But yeah, he does look very, very good in it. Like, based on how good he was in Queen, I think he's got a good range to be a real good villain.
Oh, so good in Bohemian Rhapsody. Anyway, that's all of the topics that I've got written down. Is there anything else that you can think of, or should we just wrap it up?
I think wrap it up. Nice,
Alright, cool.
Nice little podcasty bow.
Yes. Thank you to anyone who listens. We appreciate you. Obviously, you are wonderful human beings for taking time out of your schedules to listen to us bloviate about absolutely nerdy nonsense. Yeah, we don't have any many people to thank. I think every time I listen to a podcast, people thank this person and that person, but honestly, the only people we have to thank are any of our listeners. If you do listen to, contact us. Probably leave my probably my Twitter. To be honest, would probably be the best.
We'll throw out contact details like Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. I think you're most prolific on Twitter.
Yeah,
and I think I'm definitely more Instagram.
Yeah, I imagine most of the people listening to this will be our friends and colleagues anyway, so you'll probably be in contact with us regardless. But if you're not, and you are a new listener and you just happen to stumble upon this, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, leave a comment or something. Say this was awful. Don't do this ever again. Or this was amazing. Keep doing this.
Well, no, don't do that. But maybe constructive criticism.
Yeah.
That would be much appreciated, obviously. And thank you very much for listening. Yes. And goodbye.
Bye, guys.